The more I think about it, the more I think Donald Trump might be exactly what America needs. The morning after he was elected, £37 billion was wiped off the value of the FTSE. However, by the end of the day, it had rallied, and last week the dollar climbed to its highest level since 2003. The markets have come round to President Trump, and you know what? So have I. He's a successful businessman, and it looks like he's going to treat America like a business too. He's interviewing candidates for his team, not being rushed by the media. And since being elected, he's made much more measured statements about his policies. They do say new broom sweep cleaner, and I'm glad we haven't got another career politician in the White House. Yes, he's a maverick, and yes, he's something different. But that's exactly why I think President Trump should be good for America.
I don't know how we can even begin this. I mean, look, there's two issues here. One is you're assuming that because the stock market's doing well, that means he's a success. Well, I mean, the stock market is short-term money. He says he's going to borrow a great pile of cash. He's going to spend it on infrastructure, so certain shares are going booming. It's nothing to do with the strength of the economy in 10 years' time. It's to do with what it looks like over the next couple of years. You know that. You've got businesses, I've got businesses. It's all short-term. The second thing you're saying is, it doesn't really matter what you say in an election campaign. You can dump it all later as long as you've won. Now, I know
what's new, Greg?
No, I don't think that is true. You see, I think, by and large, politicians are quite honourable, actually. They do, and sometimes they get pushed off course. But to actually reverse everything you've said in a campaign, to say, I've won now, I can now do anything I like, I think is the most depressing view of politics I've ever heard.
Well, all I can tell you is, Greg, he, to me, I was not a fan, and I was not a supporter, and I wouldn't have voted for him. But now that he's in, I've actually come round, and I think people are starting to see, he's quite measured, some of the comments he's making. I think as a businessman, the one thing that I will give him credit for is you cannot be as successful as Donald Trump and being on your own. It's down to the people you hire and having the ability to pick...
Successful? When you say successful, I'm like, are we talking about the same person?
I think he's going to select the right people to work with him to achieve the things that he's saying. And I think, already there are people who have not supported him through the campaign. And I've been quite impressed that he's been prepared to go to those people. Romney, whether he comes or not is a different issue. But the fact that he's still prepared to go to those people just tells me, actually, there just might be something in this guy that could make the difference in America.
James, can I spin through his record for a second just to refresh the viewer's
Rachel.
memory? OK, successful businessman, inherited money from his father, declared himself a bankrupt, said he didn't pay taxes and that was a smart move.
Took 50 million and turned it to 5 billion.
Has had to fork out 25 million to poor students, SAPs, who bought his Trump University.
That's on
the debit side. Let's look at the credit side. He's going to scrap the Pacific Partnership. He may not sign up to the climate change deal. It's probably going to save the planet and all our bacon. He's going to put up. He's going to put up walls and say that we don't have Chinese imports because he's promised the blue collar workers their jobs aren't going to be taken away by cheap imports. Not forgetting the small fact that basically China owns America and owns most of America's sovereign debt, so it can't really treat China like that. So those are the good things, and that makes a good businessman.
I think we should take James on his own logic, right? You want him to run America like a company. What kind of company is taking over America? I've got a great clip from the former chief White House ethics lawyer, Norman Eisman. Take a look at this.
So the overall situation, it's like a hostile takeover of the United States government by the Trump organization. It's profoundly concerning. The president-elect loves to say he wants to build a big, beautiful wall. He needs to build a big, beautiful wall of trust. And the trustee would take the proceeds, put it behind the wall, and then buy and sell in investments that are unknown to Mr. Trump.
On the assumption that it's okay for somebody to run the United States like a business, which I don't agree with, you can't have it both ways. If that's what you want, surely you want somebody who is a competent businessman, an ethical businessman, a businessman who's shown he's able to build trust with his consumers. I can't think of anyone more the opposite than Donald Trump.
F-word. over 50% of the American population voted for the guy. So it's
That's not actually
no,
true. That's not actually true. Actually, Hillary Clinton got more
Okay,
votes.
by what? Like 2%,
No,
3%?
well, yeah, but that's not to be
Several
sniffed at.
million more voted for Hillary Clinton than
Okay,
voted for him.
all right.
Now, if
1%
that had happened
or
the
2%.
other way round, you could imagine the fuss he'd be making today. I got the popular vote. Well, he didn't get the popular vote. And there's some suggestion that in some states the vote was actually fiddled anyway.
Okay, but we just had this conversation a few minutes ago and said that because it's the will of the people, because the people came out and voted, you know, why can't we let the man, give him a chance?
Because
Let him-
elitists like Greg and Rachel and even Afwood don't believe in that, James. You're absolutely right to make that point. My only concern in what you say is, and by the way, he's not
So
even...
you think Donald Trump isn't an elitist?
I
mean, he hasn't lived like a man of the people
How
over
can
the
you be
years.
standing in front of gold doors like that? In what possible way can that be seen in the picture of the year with Mr. Farage? He's not in yet, and I take great heart from someone like you, because what I think and what I find distinctly un-British, actually, is give the bloke a chance. I know you don't like it, but he's won. Give the bloke a chance. Let's all see where we are in 6 months. I think power will take some of the rough edges off him. You can already see that. You're absolutely right. He's making conciliatory gestures to people like Mitt Romney, who they just clashed early on. The one concern is, I don't know you can run a country like a business, because you can be fairly... Yes, I'm just saying, you can be fairly headstrong even, you can be fairly didactic, you can bang the table. You have to be more, I would sense, collegiate, and that's the big hurdle I don't know whether Donald Trump can cross.
You can't, but all I can say, Nick, is to run a business the size of the business that he runs, you employ thousands of people, and you can't get to that position. Now, I take all the points about the business, but, you know, yes, he inherited 50 million, but he did turn it into 5 billion. So what I'm saying is that takes some skill and ability.
We don't actually know how much he's worth exactly, because he has refused to file all of his tax returns.
But the snippiness he showed this week to the what they call anchors or news presenters when he went round to have the meeting, and he absolutely went after him. And then he went after the New York Times, and then he said, actually, it's a great paper. And during the campaign, he banned the Washington Post. He said, I'm getting rid of the Washington Post, and everybody should... If you're the president of the... If you run a business like that, sure, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, fine. It's your own. If you're the president of the United States, you can't be upset by an article in the Washington Post or the New York Times.
So you're saying he's temperamentally unsuitable to be president?
I said I want to see 6 months. I'm saying I don't know. But you can't be... You can't... I think Hillary Clinton said, you can't... God, I never thought I'd... You can't... I feel bad now. You can't be upset by a tweet if you're the president of the United States. You can't be upset by a Washington Post article.
She was damn straight you can't.
No.
But also, your point about power will rub off his rough edges. That's absolute nonsense, Nick, and you know it. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And he's now going to be the most important... powerful man on the planet.
Can we just have a look?
Man on the planet who says that being president does not mean he, by any jot or tittle, has to alter his business practices, and he has actually carte blanche to do what he wants because he's president.
But let me just show you.
So
Let me
scary.
just show you a clip where he's just coming out and laying out exactly some of the policies that he wants to implement. Just take a look at this.
My agenda will be based on a simple core principle: putting America first. As part of this plan, I've asked my transition team to develop a list of executive actions we can take on day one. On trade, I am going to issue our notification of intent to withdraw from the Trans-Pacific Partnership. On energy, I will cancel job-killing restrictions on the production of American energy. On regulation, I will formulate a rule which says that for every one new regulation, 2 old regulations must be eliminated. So important.
Clear, precise, to the point, you know, has made, you know, to me, he comes across
And probably
much more...
won't be able to do any of them.
No, you can't say that, Greg. Give the man a chance.
Yes, I say that.
You know, he hasn't even started the job yet.
He has started indicating he's going to appoint his close family members to key positions. Did anyone see Ivanka trying to sell her, I have to say, a fairly hideous bracelet? I mean, just the first opportunity you get to get on TV and you're selling your products, you know, to me, that's a great indication of what we've got to come.
Well, I believe we should give the man a chance.
Yeah.
I think he'll do well. I think he will do
Well, how define well?
No World War
That's
III.
for another. That's for next time. That's for next time.